Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the Community Trail Running Podcast. I am your host, Adam Lee, and thank you for joining me once again. So many podcasts out there, and I am so appreciative of you spending a little bit of your time with me. Today's episode is all about Squamish 50. That's coming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We're talking to Jeannine and Jeanelle, both ends of the pack. We've got someone who finished at the front and Jeannine who finished Chasing Cutoffs just a few years ago. Chasing Cutoffs is a podcast that Jeannine spoke all about that experience on, hosted by Ben Mead and producer Daisy. They put out great stuff over there. You should get on to listening to what they're doing. Jeannine's episode is a great jumping off point. Check out what they're doing. It's fantastic stuff. As for Squamish this weekend, it's looking like classic Squamish weather. Hot and sunny. It's going to be dry. Do your best to stay cool. And for those attempting to run both days, the 50-50, I hope you nail the recovery at the end of day one. Make sure you take care of yourself and go get that blue hat on day two. Right now, I want to welcome and thank the literal hundreds of new subscribers as we were featured recently on Substack. Thank you all for joining. I hope you really enjoy what you find here. Please feel free to reach out at any time. Hit me up with any ideas that you have. This is all about community, and welcome to it. As for the rest of the podcast, I've got another one coming up next week. That's 3 weeks in a row. They're just rolling out right now because I've had so many wonderful people able to take the time, including Stuart Jenkins. He's talking about the product Blue Maca. It's an insole. I was super interested after reading an article on The Athletic and reached out, so very excited to share that with you. And I'm still looking for your race recommendations. There's a link in the podcast notes for that as well. I'm going to do that quarterly. You fine, awesome folk are going to recommend races you've done recently that you liked, and we'll share them. But today is about Squamish 50. Jeannine and Jeanelle, let's go. Today's guests are both friends of the newsletter, Jeannine Avelino and Jeannelle Hazlett. Jeanelle spoke to us in episode 8 about her run coaching for Ridgeline Athletics and is in fact coaching Jeannine right now. Jeannine has submitted her tips to the newsletter many times, and so I'm excited to have this coach and athlete duo on the cast previewing Squamish 50. Jeannine, Jeanelle, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
This is going to work great for a race preview because we're getting perspectives from both ends of the pack. Jeannine chased cutoffs on her way to finishing Squamish 50 just a few years back, and Jeanelle has won the 50-miler and finished second in the 50K. Jeannine, we're going to start with you as you're running this year under the tutelage of Jeanelle. Give us a general description of the 50K course and a bit of a glimpse into your mind as to how you'll attack it this year.
I would say that the 50K course is hard but doable. Definitely easier than the Buckenhill 50K that happened a couple weeks ago. I'm treating it as 3 main climbs, which is Galactic, the Climb Trail, and the Mountain of Phlegm, which after looking at the elevation gain, it's really nothing compared to the other two. But at 40 kilometers in, it feels like 3 times that. So, and it's also pretty technical, like a good mix of technical and runnable trails for sure. So it's pretty fun. How I'm going to tackle it, I'm definitely going to focus on nutrition because I feel like that's what I neglected last time, and I really faded in the second half, which like really killed me basically. Almost killed me. So that I'm going to be a lot stricter with nutrition this time.
Excellent. I know the elevation profile for the race makes that Mountain of Phlegm part of the race looks like it's going to be a breeze, but it's not by the time you get there.
Nope, not at all.
Jeanelle, I'm sure it's a little bit different to reminisce without the worry of running it this year, but you're still obviously super invested because of your athletes like Jeannine. Give us a little bit of your history, your memory of running both courses, and how you use that information to help people like Jeannine.
Yeah, so I mean, Jeannine definitely nailed the description of the 50K with respect to, those 3 main big climbs. It's a big combination of challenging, but some technical and some flowy terrain. with respect to that 50 miles, you tack on an extra 30 kilometers at the start and an extra climb, that being Debex. So, it's a typical Gary Robbins race. It's going to have some beautiful flowy sections that are a big part of what I love about the Squamish 50K and 50 miler course is there's some moments, I'll call them moments, where you really feel like you can run. And then there's also moments where you're cursing Gary or cursing the race because it can be hot. It's relentless, is I would call the biggest description of this 50K, 50 mile. And if you're beautifully insane enough to do the 50-50, it's relentless. With respect to how I take that experience into coaching my athletes, that's just that. I have a lot of conversations with Jeannine and a few of my other athletes who are racing these 50K, 50 mile distances, and have that conversation of making sure that we feel prepared and confident for runnable stuff, because it's important to feel strong with that, with the Squamish 50K, because you can really have a great day out there when you have that ability to run and feel strong. But then it's also a big piece of recognizing how relentless this course can be and how important it is to pace it, because there are, whether it's the 50 mile or 50K, there's lots of like roller coaster elements to this course. I'll never forget running the 50K and feeling like my feet were going to blow up leaving Farside, because it's just so up and down that by the end of it, you're like, everything is smashed. So that's a big part of it, is just having that conversation of let's pace this well. Let's really consider, those ups and downs of the course and the parts of the course that we can take advantage of. And then also let's really manage this race on a whole, with respect to dealing with the terrain, dealing with what usually is a very, very hot race, and all that lovely stuff.
Race management. I'm sure, Jeannine, you're thinking about that. I think you might have gotten into it a little bit with nutrition already, but is there one big takeaway from the last time you ran this race that you're going to take forward to this coming event?
Well, I'm definitely not underestimating the course, because I've run like Survival of the Fittest is actually another Gary race, and the it touches on like most of the second half of the course, maybe like the third quarter. So that part is really familiar to me. So I thought, so coming into Quest, like halfway into my 50K, I think I'm thinking, oh yeah, no problem, it should be fine. No, it's not fine, because that's where I think I made the biggest loss in time for some reason. Like, um, thinking that everything is gonna be okay, but not realizing, like, I've got 23, 25 kilometers in my legs already, and there's like another 8 kilometer climb and then like crazy technical down for a while. So you just like second guessing all your steps and like going a little slower than you wanted to. So that's definitely not underestimating the course this time, for sure.
I can imagine you've got a lot more a clearer idea of what you need to do this time. And then, Jeanelle, I'm going to go back to you, just thinking of clear ideas and talking about certain sections of the course. I'm wondering, at the front of the pack, both the 50 mile and the 50K, is there a section in either one where you feel the race is won or lost, or is it just grind it to the end?
Probably a little bit of both, but no, as Jeannine just touched on, actually, the climb trail and that portion of leaving Quest and going into either the second half of the 50K or in the 50 miler, you're back 30 kilometers. That is a huge indicator of the race for everyone, that being the front runners to the back runners. But for sure, when it comes to competing and racing, especially in the 50 miler, they say, when you leave Quest, if you've paced it well, you're about 55K into the race or so, and you head up that climb trail. If you are hiking from the moment that hill starts to incline and you're at the front of the pack, you might have gone out a little bit too hot with that first 55K and underestimated your pace. Even as well with the 50K, when you leave Quest, if you, especially in the 50K, because you're halfway, if you're hiking and competing for the front of the pack into that climb trail, it's maybe not a good sign of race management. But I would say with the 50K, there is that ability to kind of take things back and same with the 50 miler. But the climb trail for sure is a big indicator for the 50 miler with respect to competitiveness. And then with the 50K, for sure, once you leave Farside, everyone who knows Farside knows it's the last aid station in the race, and you've got 10K left. And many a race, the 10K or the 50K or the 50 miler has been lost or won in that last 10K of the race, because you got Mount Phlegm, as Jeannine has mentioned, that looks like it's nothing, but especially depending on how you've raced, it's a lot of something, and it's 10K. So those little key indicators, the climb trail and leaving Farside, if you're feeling okay leaving that last aid station, that far side aid station, you're in a good position for the rest of the race.
Amazing. I love all the aid station chat because it just makes me segue into Jeannine's questions super easy. I'm really happy and pumped up to help crew a little bit with Jeannine, but we only get to see her a couple of times. Jeannine, what's your plan for the aid stations when you can see us as your crew as opposed to when you can't?
I think we're going to do the vest swap thing, because that's going to be a lot faster. So basically, I'll give you like a guideline, like what I want in one bottle and what side of the vest, what I want in the other bottle and the other side of the vest, and then like what food is going to be in which pocket. So when I run into the aid station, I'll just like, here, give me my vest, and then you'll give me mine, and then I can just grab whatever I need from the aid station and just book it. And like, unfortunately, I only get to see you guys twice, but for the other aid stations that are there, I'll probably just like fill up on water if I need to. It's probably going to be hot, so I will most likely fill up on water, or grab some like my usual chips, or I have like my little cup and get some Coke and like just drink it all the way down, all the way down to the next one. So yeah, I plan not to linger, and I know like I've seen like people like sitting down and stuff. Like I can't do that, and like that's not gonna happen for me, because then I'm not gonna want to leave. I've seen people like sitting on chairs during the 50K, and like, all right, good for you.
You can't see it, but Jeanelle's shaking her head. No.
I have to say, as coach, I'm very stoked to hear that is Jeannine's strategy. We've talked a lot about like calories and how much that can make or break a race, and like aid station management and how much that can make or break a race. And especially the vest swap. I don't care if you're the front of the pack or the back of the pack. The vest swap is such a fun thing, because in my mind, I think I'm a NASCAR. So I think of myself as like one of those like beep, 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 like fast NASCARs. And the feeling of someone just like passing you a vest and you throwing, well, maybe don't throw your vest at your crew, because that's not the nicest, but like swapping out the vest makes you feel like some sort of rock star. And like, it can really be a fun way to pick your race up and like really get you going, especially if maybe you're having a little bit of a low. So I'm stoked, Jeannine, to hear all of those great aid station strategies, because they can definitely really make your race.
Amazing.
My coach happy.
That's the way to do it, Jeannine. Why don't you tell people how they can follow you along as you give a crack at Squamish this year?
Well, I'm on Instagram at Jeannine Avelino, which I'm sure you'll probably link to. And if you want to read my previous experience in Squamish, just go to my blog, everythingbutweddings.ca.
Thank you so much, Jeannine. And Jeanelle, how can people hook up with you so they can be coached to Squamish or any such race?
You can find me at Ridgeline Athletics for all of your coaching needs, and then follow me on Instagram with all of my own day-to-day coaching things and my own personal training and all that lovely stuff.
Huge thank you to both of you, Jeannine, Jeanelle. Amazing. I'm so excited about this podcast. Huge thank you to all of you for listening. Shout out to race volunteers everywhere, like all of those in Squamish this week. And until next time, I'm Adam Lee, and this is Community Trail Running.